Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to New Life Live. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you've joined us today for New Life Live. And joining me, Milan, Yerkovich,
hey,
and Alice Benton.
Hi, everybody.
Well, I guess we should comment on the Super Bowl since it was Super Bowl yesterday. And I guess as Super Bowl games go, that was, I mean, if you were a San Francisco fan, it was a sad game, but it was at least you'd have to admit it was an exciting game rather than some of the Super Bowls that really aren't very anything. And of course, many comments about halftime and just why do we have to do that? And oh my goodness, it's just tragic. And I heard that it was actually going to be something of family fun. And so at the end of that halftime show, I guess they had children on the field or something, or her daughter or something like that. Didn't get the details. But anyway, I would just say this. If you watched it and anything in you was drawn to that or desire or lust or whatever, maybe it's time you clean up your act and come join us at Every Man's Battle, because there'll be other people there that have that same response, glued to the set kind of thing that takes place. And so I hope and pray that, if anything happens in your life and you go, wow, I didn't realize I had gone that far down the path. I didn't realize I was kind of that far gone in the area of lust or sexual integrity, lack of it. Come to Every Man's Battle and just get that taken care of and become the man that you want to be, the man that God wants you to be. It's available. It's there. It's this weekend. You could change everything this Friday by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Absolutely. And I think, were you going to say something else?
Well, when I was watching the halftime show, I was interested in those two singers and wanted to see, hoping they would put on a cleaner show, and my children were with me. And I started to feel uncomfortable, and I wondered, am I overreacting? Nope, I don't think I am. Let's turn it. And I felt very grateful to my husband, who's really supportive of the sensitivity to that. And I feel so honored when he changes the channel. But I was thinking how many women, mothers were out there that wanted the channel to be changed, and maybe it wasn't. So do you even feel like you can speak up to say, let's move to something else?
Right.
Because if you don't, that's a problem. We need to have a strong voice against this to protect ourselves, our children, and our marriages.
Well, this is the normalization of extreme and overt sexuality as Hollywood and the entire entertainment industry portrays it. It is a no-shame zone. We dance, we be highly sexual, and it is so sad to see. I had recorded it, and I fast-forwarded through it and didn't watch it, and with Kay, and I said, we're not going to watch this, and it also makes me angry, because the naivety of many women who think, well, you can just dress in attire like that, and it's the man's problem if he has a problem with that.
We're all in this
the
together.
Apostle Paul said, so, yeah, we're all in this together. And the Apostle Paul said there's a responsibility for all women to dress modestly. And so that's my plug for the day.
Well, hats off to all of the folks like Alice's husband who switched that channel. And all right, here's the main thing. We've got to continue to remind men that women are more than what they look like, more than an object.
Right.
They are real, live, wonderful people.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 28th to March the 1st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. That is absolutely the phone number to call. Now, one more thing I want to mention. If you're struggling in some way, there's a brand new book out. It's the 20th anniversary edition of Every Man's Battle. It's got all the new brain science in it and things that we didn't even know when we wrote the first book. And I tell you, I think it could change your life. We're going to give that to you for a gift of any amount. That's all you have to do is call us, and we'll send you Every Man's Battle, the updated 20th anniversary edition. We really got that conversation started, and we need more men signing up for integrity. Our phone number, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to go to California, San Diego. One place is where she listens on the internet. Mary, how you doing today?
Oh, I'll be better after talk to you.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, the short version, I moved into this house probably 7 or 8 months ago. It's a lease, and a person committed suicide here. And there are like noises. Other people have experienced the noises as well as I have. And I've done everything I think I can do. Do you want to know some of the strategies? I mean, distractions and Gregorian chant music through the night. Last night,
tell us the question. Tell us the question that you have, and maybe we can help you with it.
Okay. What other strategies can I use so that I have some peace so I can sleep through the night?
So you believe...
Random knocking on the wall was what happened last night. Woke me up.
Okay.
At
All right.
3:50
And you believe that is an evil spirit from the suicide that occurred there? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And before I close my bed door to go to bed at night, I rebuke Satan and just claim God's protection through the night. But last night, the Gregorian chant ended around 3 in the morning. I mean, I wasn't awake, but I awakened to a knocking on the wall.
Okay.
And
All right.
that was about 3:15.
Okay. So we want to cover every angle on this for you. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with a practical thing, and then we're gonna get into the spiritual. But we'll spend most of our time on the spiritual. But I do have to tell you, the other night I slept downstairs in my house. We haven't been in our house all that long, and I heard noises that I had never heard before, and it was things like that's the time the saltwater thing happens I didn't know about, and all sorts of other things. So I'm just going to say that when anything like this happens, we want to rule out or make sure it's not something that happens at night. Houses, when the temperature changes and cools down at night, houses creak. The expanded cement contracts, wood, all of that, and so I'm just believing that this is something beyond that. But anybody going through this, you should check out the practical. Now, Milan, why don't you take it from here, and then Alice?
Okay. Now, can I offer an example?
Sure.
Of real?
Yeah.
Okay. My brother was the last one to hear something. He was staying with me just overnight. We finished watching TV. We were in our separate bathrooms, brushing our teeth and getting ready for bed. And he came out of his bathroom into the hallway and said to me, "Are you dragging furniture out here?" And I looked at him like, "Are you nuts? I'm brushing my teeth." He said, I heard a table being dragged across the floor.
Okay.
Okay,
Right,
so Mary,
no, I'm not questioning you. I was just
Yeah.
making a blanket statement for everybody in addressing this issue.
yeah,
Okay.
my son came over to my house the other night, and he's older, and he came over to pick something up, and he was standing in our bedroom talking to us, and there was a noise, and he turned around and says, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, our house does a lot of creaking and popping, and when the heater goes on and off, they expand and contract and all that stuff in the walls." Now, Mary, we had the same thing happen to our house that you're describing. I do believe that there can be a presence of evil in a location. We moved into our house probably 25 years ago, it's something like that, and all of us felt this yucky feeling, and there were things they were palpable to everybody. And so I really want you to know I am resonating with your phone call, because there is such a thing as evil. And moving furniture, things like that, the sounds of furniture moving around this is not the first time I've heard that. So that is something that I've heard before. What we did is we put together a really high-powered team of friends and associates and pastors and people that I knew were very spiritual and had a strong relationship to God. And see, I have no idea what a Gregorian chant is saying. See, I don't know what it's saying. We were intentional and purposeful, and we walked through every room of the house, and we prayed in that room. Every hallway, every closet. We just went through the entire house, and we asked God to, now that we were there, for this house to be a clean and holy house, because we were there and we were asking for his presence and we were asking for his cleansing. And it was something that took over an hour, and it was one of those incredible times. And after that, all those noises went away and all that yucky feeling went away. And I'm like super peaceful in my house, and it was an important thing to do. So I just want you to know, this is something I've been through, Mary, and there was just really yucky stuff that went on in our house before we moved in.
So have you had some people that were quite spiritually minded and mature in their faith come over and pray inside the house?
Well, actually, I just started up calling my sister and her husband. We prayed together the 91st Psalm.
Okay, so but what we did is we brought people in the house, Mary.
Here's what Milan did, and then I want to hear from
people in the house. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I'm just saying, Milan brought actual people into the house that were strong in their faith. They prayed in the house, and then he didn't experience the sounds after that. So that's something you haven't done that you would think about. And then, Alice, what's your perspective on this?
Well, to get a little more specific, Mary, because Scripture tells us sometimes the technique we need, the strategy we need is fasting in addition to prayer. That is what can move out the evil presence. But I also want you to fight the spirit of fear, because anybody would go into fear in your situation. And you can claim out loud 2 Timothy 1:7, I do not have a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. And I want you to get more specific than just I rebuke you, Satan, because it may be a spirit of death, a spirit of suicide. Name those things in particular and stand in that power authority that Luke 10:19 gives us.
And we want people that have been some experience with that too. It really helps in situations like this. People that have been in this realm of spiritual opposition. I don't think the church at large speaks enough about our enemy who prowls around, said 1 Peter, as a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. I know people that think Satan is impotent, bound, not involved, and I go, I don't know what newspaper you're reading, but he's very alive and well.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that Alice and I had a conversation about this very thing just this past week. And so we hope and pray that something we've said is helpful, Mary. We actually moved out of a house because of this. We didn't have your team, Milan, and so we're not discounting this at all. Look at the practical,
serious
do
issue.
what you need to do, get some people on board with you there. I think let me send you a copy of the Restoration Bible, some great devotional material there. I'll send that right out to you. Randy, Dallas, Texas, KWRD, how you doing?
Hello, excellent. I'm doing great. I'm in my lunchtime at work, but yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I was just calling to see about Every Man's Battle. All my life, I've been how can I say? I don't want to call myself a womanizer, but it ended up being that way. You know, I would always get together with women, and they would just give in to me almost every time, and we'd end up sleeping together, and then all of a sudden they want the whole 9 yards out of every relationship, and I wasn't it didn't be like, it wasn't like that. I liked them and everything. I thought we were friends, and I tried to be that way, but that's just, I was just going through that. That was like in my history. I'm married now, and I kind of battled it as my marriage, but then I try to cut it away. But like I still have. I'm always looking at women, and porn comes across me and catches my eye and grabs my attention, and
so
I struggle.
What do you want to do?
I'm trying to take my mind off of women and sexual ingenuity or whatever.
Okay, all right. Have you tried anything to get better?
Not really.
Okay. What does your wife know about the problem?
She doesn't really say anything about it. She knows. I know she knows, and we don't really discuss about it. But she really doesn't say too much with it.
Okay. So if you wanted to be truly faithful to her, mind, body, spirit, because the standard of God's purity is actually holiness, well, you're not going to be able to do it by yourself with just willpower. And we created this weekend that we're doing this weekend where you come together with other guys struggling with the same thing. And just showing up and connecting with other guys that struggle and hearing information on how to be free and stay free, I mean, that's about 50% of it right there. It just is amazing the impact that has. Then you're having therapy and counseling.
Yeah.
Well, everybody there loves their wife, but we get to a place where we have we develop a habit, and we have a habit, and then the habit has us. And then once the habit has us, it has our marriage.
Right.
And we have so many guys that so grateful came before some horrible thing happened, because it doesn't get better. Even though you try, it gets worse. So if you came to that weekend, you would do what we've created to be the most powerful thing to help a guy like you. That would be the thing to do.
Randy, did you have some very early sexual experience happen to you, perhaps against your will?
I had sexual experience happen with me. I can't say it was against my will, but I don't know.
Randy, how early? How young?
I think I was 6 years old, and she was 5, or I was 7, or she was 6, something like that. Yeah. So I just I pulled down. She pulled out her panties, and I pulled down my underwear. And
okay, but you weren't involved with an adult or an older person. We'll take a break. We'll come right back after this.
My wife asked me for the first time in 2011 if I would consider myself a sex addict, so I signed up. I'd read the Every Man's Battle book, and it was a great book, but the workshop, it was the experience that really was key for me. If they go to EMB, they're going to be in good hands. This is a safe place. They're going to be surrounded by men that simply walk the talk. The weekend leaders that they will go through this workshop with, they'll help them to get to the root of their issues. I've been through a number of well-preached sermons, listened to and read countless books, been to a number of seminars, but EMB for me it was a game changer. It truly saved my life. Being in this community, being in this workshop, being around these men will change them if they'll let them. You're going to encounter men that will meet you where you're at, and you will instantly walk into a safe place where they're welcome.
If you're struggling, call us. We don't want you to go on struggling. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. We're talking with Randy, and he has really been struggling with sexual things since very, very young. Alice, you were talking with him about early experiences.
Well, Randy, even the story you told, although children are playful, children experiment, I believe something else started for you even earlier, and whether there was just exposure in your home to very sexualized content, or there was neglect from the adults in your home that allowed this setup to occur. Because I hear an attitude in you that things just happen to you. Porn comes across you. Women just respond to you. You speak about it as if you do not have the power. You're not the one making the decisions. And that can be a sign of some early experiences that happen to you. So I think as you proceed and you choose your marriage and you choose respect for your wife, and hopefully you'll accept structured help for what's going on right now, you'll come to see that I believe something early happened to you, but that also you have a lot more power here than I hear you taking responsibility for. And I want you to strengthen the way that you speak about this, that you make these choices, you approach these women, you pursue these things, allow them to happen. That will really start to change the way that you see what you're getting into.
Milan, you have a thought here?
Randy, that will happen. The stage will be set at Every Man's Battle. I cannot tell you enough how much I would support that. Now, it's going to be this next weekend here in California, in San Jose, but in Dallas, Texas, March 6th, there will be another workshop, which is right where you live. And in this workshop, you'll be familiarized with God's view of sexuality, holiness, and what God requires of us as males, and how we can then, as Alice said, take charge of our sexual thoughts and begin to put them where we want them instead of letting them run like a stampede in our head. And so learning to say no of that, take control, and take charge, as well as to stop and ask the question, what else, as Alice is saying, what else fed into this? What other things in my home may have supported this in some way? And so these will all be covered. I cannot say it enough. This is a fabulous workshop.
I'll send you the new book, Every Man's Battle. I think you'll find yourself all through it. Two things. There's a reason it's called Every Man's Battle. It's probably the most common thing men struggle with. And no matter what you think, there is help for it, absolute help for it. So I hope you'll read the book. I hope we'll see you in Dallas next month, if not this weekend. Anybody else, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could join us in California this weekend. It's going to be an amazing time. Women, if you were uncomfortable at your husband watching something at halftime, if you want your husband to function with a deeper connection to you because he's blocked out the world and all of its temptations, call us and let us talk to you about this. Don't let money stand in the way, because there are a lot of people that have been through that give scholarship money so that somebody else can benefit from it. Call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Janisha from Macon, Georgia, Sirius XM is the station you listen to, 131, 1 p.m. Eastern. Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Great. How can we help today?
Well, in my Bible study, our pastor, he preaches about forgiving and forgetting, and, the power that it will give us to forgive, and help us to move on through adversities that we may have faced in life. But sometimes I think about the pain that I suffered as a child, as I was younger. And sometimes I get confused because I don't know if the pain is lessened because I've truly forgiven, or I just forgot it and suppressed it and replaced that pain with many other things. I suffer from addiction and just really bad relationships.
Okay.
I'm at a place in my life now, I'm living for the Lord. Things are going very good for me. I'm having changes through my job, but sometimes I have flashbacks, and those flashbacks are the very things that hurt me when I was younger. And I was listening to a broadcast y'all had last week, and somebody had mentioned that sometimes we have to talk about it. And so I guess my question is, do I talk about it? I suffer some deep pain.
All right, so let me just help you here, and here's the thing. I don't want to go against what your pastor's saying, but the teaching of forgive and forget, really, we don't think that's a very good idea, because first of all, it does sometimes encourage you to provide some kind of instant forgiveness that you can't do. Then you feel guilty that you didn't forgive and forget. And plus, if I forget what happened to me, then I'm vulnerable to be a victim again. So when we come back, we'll try to give you what we think is your best hope here. And I'm so glad you called, Kanisha, because so many other people have childhood hurts, and in some kind of teaching in the church, they feel like it shouldn't be affecting their lives, or they shouldn't feel these things. And so they feel some shame in talking to anybody at the church. And then when they do, they say, well, you should have forgiven and you should have forgotten a long time ago. We think we think there's something different there that needs to be done. We'll tell you about that, as I said. Really glad you called. 1-800-229-3000. Join us.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Ganesha from Macon, Georgia. Childhood hurts and instructed to forgive and forget, and really having a lot of struggle here. And, boy, I'll tell you, we're glad you called. And why don't we start with you, Dr. Alice Benton, and then we'll go to Milan. On what do you think, just tell her, here's what we think would be the most helpful thing for you.
Janisha, you have us all fired up. We've been talking about this through the entire break, and we're upset for you because it's not possible to forget what has happened to you, and it's not a biblical requirement for forgiveness either. In fact, James 5:6.
Can I? I'm sorry. Well, my thing was he told me to forgive, but I said maybe. I think I don't know if I have forgiven the childhood hurt, or maybe I just forgot it, And I say maybe maybe I experienced this hurt, or it's starting to come up in my flashback as I'm older. It's because maybe I didn't truly forgive.
Sure.
And I
but Janisha, there are two separate processes to what you're talking about, because one is the decision it sounds like you already made to forgive. That's just a choice of the will. In obedience to God, I'm going to forgive what's probably unforgivable that happened to me. And you've made that decision. Right. But the second piece then is working through the pain and the memories that you still have and the flashbacks that return. And I think sometimes that's part of God's internal warning system for us, that we need to talk it through in a structured, safe format. So James 5:16 tells us to confess and to pray for one another so that we can be healed. That's part of the storytelling process, not just the mistakes we've made or people we hold bitterness against, but also sins committed against us. So when you talk through that in a group, a support group or therapy or a New Life weekend, that's when you start to find that the memories no longer hold the emotional power over you that they have now. And it's through talking about what happened to you with other safe people that love you through it.
Milan, what are your thoughts here for her?
Well, I appreciate the spirit of what is being tried to communicate here, but forgiving does not mean to forget. And so I disagree with that contention. And if you have flashbacks, that doesn't mean you haven't forgiven. Forgiveness is about releasing the offender and me not having to punish them. God will punish them, and I will let them go because God will handle the justice part of all of this. But the Old Testament is all history of all of all the difficult things that were done by mankind and the nation of Israel. And so God doesn't forget that history. The Old Testament's this thick, 2 inches thick. And we can't understand the New Testament unless we really understand the entirety of the Old Testament. It sets the stage for the New Testament. So we have to work through our things that have hurt us. They will come up for the rest of our lives, Janisha. And we must learn to bring them, as Alice said, into relationship so that we can get comfort now for something we were not comforted for as a child, and that we can process and work them out. So I'm so sorry these difficult things happen to you, but I would recommend that you find someone to talk to that is someone who is aware of and trained in the realm of forgiveness. I'm sorry, and trauma.
Yes, and so Janice, so you hold on. We're going to try to find a counselor for you that does specialize in trauma. I'm going to send you 2 things. I'll send you the book, Take Your Life Back. And really the theme there is not having to react the rest of your life to something that happened early on, but you take your life back. Now I can respond to God. And then I'm going to send you the brand new grief workbook for the Life Recovery Bible. And it'll take you through steps of grieving. And when we grieve, we express some anger and sadness over what was taken from us when we were abused early on. And it really helps you be what we're looking for you, to be free of that pain so that, it doesn't feel like it was just yesterday or it's impacting us like 1,000 cuts a day. That's going to come your way. Now, anybody else, if you want a copy of Take Your Life Back or the brand new workbook on grieving, you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And that's also the number to call if you can support this ministry. Larry Sonnenberg is in studio. We're going to take a couple of minutes to hear from Larry about supporting New Life, and then we'll go back to the calls.
Thank you, Steve. I'm really glad to be able to say a few. Oh, here we go. Thank you so much, Steve. I always like to share testimonies. It's a broken record, but it makes you realize why we want you to help support us.
Okay, let's hear one.
Every Man's Battle guy wrote this at the conclusion of the weekend. His name was Harry. This weekend has really helped me embrace the love and forgiveness of God's grace. It's helped me learn to cherish my wife's heart more than mine and not be self-centered. It's shown me that I'm not alone, and he refreshed my hope and healing. God has worked in a mighty way, and he blew me off my feet. God had made himself real in so many ways, and I've developed friendships that will most likely last a lifetime. I'm ready to go home and be the loving, compassionate husband my wife needs me to be. Talk about life change. He had a perspective check, and he's thinking differently than he did. That's what it's all about. And if you can support that, there's a couple of things I'd ask you to do. One is consider joining Club New Life. We need to continue to build that family of people who monthly make a gift, and that gift makes a difference. And it's what we can depend upon month after month to do the things we need to do. And God's honoring this. God has a hand of favor on this ministry. And so help us be that hand of favor.
Together with you, helping us help others, we can transform a person's future. We can change their story, but we need your help to do it. And then you become our partner, and all the credit goes to God and to you and us as a partner with you. So we really do want to help others. We need your help to do it. You call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I'll send you a copy, brand new book, Every Man's Battle. It's the 2nd edition, 20th anniversary edition. And I really believe it could transform and help you go deeper in your sexual integrity and recovery. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE to help us.
Can I say something right here?
Yep.
This is really important. The average listener forgets this, and that is that New Life Ministries pays to be on the air. Commercial advertising, finances raised do not put us on the air. The money we raise as an organization allows us to be on the air. So if you're listening to this show, you're listening because people have supported and given money to New Life to be on the radio. That is a really important thing everybody must not forget. It's here because we want it to be.
And if you have never given before, I just want you to think about stopping and making that first gift. You know, it's so easy to listen and just let others carry the weight. But if you would just help make that first time gift, we'd really love that.
Did you say stop and like stop at the car?
Stop in the car, yeah.
Oh, okay. I just heard what you were going to say. Stop. I was going to say start giving after you stop.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, I just thought it would fit right in.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. And then if you want to join us on the program, 1-800-229-3000. Let's go to Susan, Portland, Oregon, listening online. Hey, Susan, how are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Having a good day today, and hope that we. Yes, we want to help you somehow. How can we do that?
Well, this is my question. I went through a horrid marriage of a very narcissistic man, controlling, beat me down. And I went away one weekend when my daughter was 15. And when I came home, she was at the door to greet me, took me to her room, threw herself on her bed, and said, "While you were gone, Daddy did something in my vagina."
Oh, my goodness. So what did you do?
I went crazy.
Did you call the police?
No, I did not. I realized I could be put in jail today because I didn't. I went straight to a lawyer and filed for divorce. That was like the icing on the cake, the last thing I would put up with. You've done everything to us you can, but this will not be tolerated. And my attorney said, "You keep your mouth shut, lady." And he said, if you want any settlement at all, you don't want to ruin his reputation. He's a doctor. And
He's a doctor.
I just listened to the advice because I did not know. I didn't have any tools. I did not know what to do.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
So my question,
yeah, go ahead. Your question is? No, what's your question?
Well, my question is, my daughter knew about it then. I tried to get her in counseling. She said, "Daddy told me you would do this, and I'm not talking." She would not talk, so I got her out of counseling. I was very fearful. If I kept bringing it up, she'd think that she had to date.
Okay, Susan, we're going to go to a break, but the good news is all you're responsible for is to do the next right thing.
She said, "We need to talk." She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. You know, I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. You know, I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. You know, they'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, you know, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. You know, it's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, you know, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay in the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you a set of 4 devotionals, 100 Days of Character, Peace, Prayer, and the newly released 100 Days of Healing. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. And Susan, you had there's something else you wanted to mention here before we turn this over to Milan and Alice, and that is, what's the situation now that you're dealing with him?
Well, we're divorced, and I had to move from Portland to Oklahoma to take care of my parents. And in that span of time, he has convinced her that I abandoned them, that I left them. Everything's my fault. Everything's my fault.
Okay, so I need to, because we don't have a lot of time, I need you to tell us the question about your situation now.
Well, we just now have started talking after 13 years. And my daughter and I, she's 39 now. And she said, I'm using my daddy as the babysitter of my children.
Mm-hmm.
She has a
How old are her children?
Daughter, and her daughter is 7. Her son is 3.
Okay.
He is her only babysitter, and I just about went out of my mind. But I said nothing, because if I do, I'm just jealous. I'm being mean. He's got the money. He can buy her.
Okay, so let's try to help you. Let us try to help you come up with what is the right thing to do, no matter what. Okay. So Alice, you're the PhD. I'm going to start with you.
Susan, I am so angry on your behalf that your family has been shackled by the evil choices that your husband has made, and I know you have felt quite powerless to do anything about it, in part because of other people's advice. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have an opportunity here, and I know you see that, to, as Steve said, to do the next right thing. But the choice that you make will be, there's a risk involved in standing up for what's right, because your daughter has bonded with her father against you. And unfortunately, it's not so uncommon for a victim to bond with the abuser and to side with the abuser against the other parent. And unfortunately, as you move to take care of your parents, there was such a break in relationship and break in communication and perhaps even in trust between you and your daughter. But you know that your 7-year-old granddaughter is so likely at risk, because it sounds like no one ever reported your husband's sexual abuse. Is that correct? It was never reported by anyone?
That's correct.
And the likelihood of him abusing someone else... Go ahead.
I talked about it, but I didn't ever report it. I talked about it to friends and counselors, but I never reported him to the police. I didn't know to do that. No one ever told me.
Okay. So what should happen now, do you think, Alice?
Well, I think what your husband did still needs to be reported. And you risk breaking relationship, but with the chance to save this 7-year-old, if abuse is already happening, from it going on or from it ever beginning. And a report can be made anonymously so that the situation is investigated without your name being brought into it. But for the sake of that 7-year-old, because ongoing perpetration of sexual abuse is so likely, it needs to be made. Now, on your part, especially if you've moved back or have the ability to, you might offer yourself as a babysitter for that child now that you and your daughter are getting closer, or you might offer to help pay for another babysitter if you're not in close proximity. But building safety for that 7-year-old has to be a priority.
Milan, any comment here before we finish? I'm so sorry, and I'm so glad you called where we could encourage you to do the right thing.
You know, a lot of us don't know what to do at a point in time in history, and after that, life becomes very complicated. I think what Alice said is important. Alice, who would she report this to? The police or Child Protective Services? Who would she call in Portland?
I would say Child Protective Services first. They do the investigation, and they'll discover if more needs to be done.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you called. Hold on. I want to send you a copy of Healing is a Choice. It'll help you to heal, to give you some courage to move forward. Anybody else listening, you know, if you're aware of someone that was an abuser years ago, there's no place where, you know, that goes away naturally. They need to be treated. They need help. And you have to assume that others are being victimized. That's our main concern in situations like this, that other people aren't being victimized and molested. And so we want to get people involved to be sure that there is hope and healing, protection. Very, very sad, very, very difficult. And, you know, this is why we're glad that we're on the air, so we can give these messages of what is the next right thing. You go make it right. And you don't want to ever feel like you're responsible for someone that's destroying lives being out there on the loose, unreported. That's why it's important to do that courageous thing and report. Even if it's anonymously, they'll look into it, and they're pretty smart most of the time. Well, if you can help us, we sure would love that. We'll send you a copy of the brand new 20th anniversary edition of Every Man's Battle. If you join Club New Life, I'll send you the set of 400 100-day devotions. I think you'll love being part of the New Life Giving family. Every Man's Battle is this weekend. We would love to have you come. It's in Northern California near San Jose. It's on Friday. It ends on Sunday, and you can be a different human being. This next weekend could be your Super Bowl weekend, where everything comes together. Satan is defeated, the evil influence, the temptation is defeated, and now you become a man of honor and respect. The Bible says that when we humble ourselves before the Lord, He will lift us up. And when you humble yourself to ask for help, it is God who lifts you up and makes you a new person, a new creature. But you have to cooperate. And the first thing is somebody has to make a phone call somewhere. And it could be you if you have the problem. It could be a girlfriend, a wife, somebody that says, I've got to look into this because this guy is struggling. And you think that there's no hope, and it's disgusting and all of that, but there's tremendous, tremendous hope. Intimacy in Marriage is February 14th. We have sold out of that workshop. We don't have any more spaces, so you might want to jump on board, call us, and get into the next one, because this is a life changer for marriages. And then Restore comes up February the 28th in Orange County. And then I'll be teaching with Chris Williams, March 15th, Finding Freedom. All of these things are designed for transformation. And if you'll help us, we can literally help transform somebody's present and their future for generations to come. That is what I love to see. You know, Timothy, when he was ministering, he was about 35, and Paul came along in his 60s and said, you know, I'm not going to be around very long. I'm going to write this guy a letter. And he says to him, we need to be led by the Holy Spirit. And you know, when we're led by the Holy Spirit, we're leading a godly life versus letting our passions, our lusts, our drives, the appetites control us. We want to be controlled by the power of God within us. And when we're believers, that happens. Now, we let the Holy Spirit control us, and then we let Satan have some ground, some evil ground back. And it happens all the time. So what we want to do is help you get back to that spiritual base in your life, being led by the Holy Spirit, where you're more interested in what God wants you to do than what might feel good right now or what you might be entitled to. It's a totally different way of living. But that's where hope and healing and that life you've been looking for takes place. But you have to call us for us to help you with it. There might be a counselor, a workshop, a book. But you have to call us and let us help you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. This next program, call us at 1-800-229-3000. Thank you, Milan. Thank you, Alice. Blessings to all of you who listen, watch, and pray. See you next time on New Life.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.